The AC Infinity Ionframe Evo4 is the largest light of theirs that you can fit into the Cloudlab 722 Grow tent that we unboxed a little while back. Let's get this compact, powerful light unboxed and set up inside of the tent so that we can sprout our first batch of spring seedlings. AC Infinity has always done an incredible job of packaging their products, and this light arrived in very thick cardboard with no damage. To get the light out of the box, just cut the tape on one end and slide the light out. There are arrows on the packaging to show you which side is up, which I totally missed, so my foam blocks are on top, and the light parts are trying to fall out, so I will have to flip the entire package over. As always, there are the instructions and the product guide that they ship with every piece of equipment. The first thing I'm going to grab is the driver, which has a built-in power cord. There is another connector there to attach it to the light, but we will talk more about that when we finish assembling it. Next, I am going to go ahead and remove the protective baggie so that I can get to the rest of the parts, which will show you the light itself, along with the box of extras. Speaking of the box of extras, they have quite a bit packed into this little box that is going to help you set the light up in different ways. First up is the mini controller, which will give you a lot of basic control of the light, even if you are not using one of their more full-featured controller setups. It can be stuck directly onto the light with its integrated magnets, or attached to a metal tent plate, or even to the wall. Next up is the baggie that has the driver mounting brackets and screws, along with the various mounting hardware options and cable management ties. After that is the extra long UIS cable that is what you will need to connect the light to a controller that isn't directly on the light, as the next cable is the short one that you will want to use if you are going to just have the mini controller on the light itself. Finally, there is the longer driver extension cable, and you are going to want to use this if you plan on mounting the light driver outside of the tent somewhere. The last thing to do now is to remove the rest of the foam from the light itself and get it out of the way. I do like to save this high-density foam packing for whenever I need to ship something myself, as it is easy to cut and really does do a great job of protecting things. With the light out of its packaging, we can take a closer look at the bars and see the various high-efficiency LM301B, LM301H, and Bridgelux 3030 chips that AC Infinity is using on their lights. You can also see the mounting points built into the frame, along with the short driver connector that is attached to the other side of the light. Next up, it is time to attach the driver to the light, and for that we are going to need the baggie from earlier that has the mounting hardware in it. The first things we need to grab are the two driver mounting brackets, and these will allow you to mount the driver to either the light or the wall, depending on how you orient them. After that, it is time to grab the driver, and then go ahead and remove the wiring ties that are holding it all in place. Once the ties are removed, you want to flip it over so that you can see the 4 holes that the brackets will be attached to. Now that the driver is in place, grab the 2 mounting brackets and set them onto the back of the driver itself. If you are planning on mounting it to the light like I am, make sure that the fingers are pointing away from the driver, like I have here. If you want to mount the driver to the wall outside of the tent, then make sure that the fingers are pointing the other direction towards the top of the driver. Once you have the brackets in place, you will need to grab the bag of screws and get the 4 that you need to attach the brackets to the driver. I need the ones with the flat top and beveled edge, as those will fit perfectly into the countersunk holes in the bracket itself. Get all 4 of them started first, and then tighten them all down at the same time afterwards. After that, grab the 4 thumb screws and get them started into the sides of the bracket. You don't want them actually sticking all the way through yet, just get them started so that the driver is easier to attach in a minute. Once those are all started, go ahead and put the rest of the hardware away for some other time, if you decide to change how the driver will be mounted in the future. Now that the driver is ready, go ahead and set it on top of the back side of the light, centered over the middle 2 bars. You want to make sure that the driver to light connectors are on the same side as each other, and you just click them together. If you are mounting the driver remotely, you would attach the driver extension cable in between these 2 connectors instead. Next up, go ahead and tighten the thumb screws all the way down so that the driver locks onto the back of the light itself. This will make sure that the driver cannot fall off of the light when you are hanging it inside of the tent. Once the driver is connected to the light bars, we are going to grab the mini controller and stick it to the frame of the light before we grab the shorter UIS cable to connect it to the driver. There is a small rubber cover on the driver next to the driver cable. Make sure to remove that first. It doesn't matter which end of the cable gets connected to the controller or the driver, so just pick whichever one and get it connected, then finish up by connecting it to the other one. After that, I am going to connect the hanging hardware to the light, and that makes it so that you only need 2 ratcheting hangers to adjust the height of the light in the tent instead of 4, which is a nice touch. Once those are connected, it is time to get this light hung inside of the Cloudlab 722 and see what results we get. First up, we are going to be measuring the par levels with the Ionframe Evo4 hung at 12 inches above the sensor, and if you look at the par map on the right side of the screen, you can see how we are showing the relationship between the size of the grow light and the size of the tent. The green square is the 2 foot by 2 foot footprint of the tent, and the shape of the light is shown with the gray shape in the center of the map that indicates the light's orientation. One thing to remember with our light measurements is that we are doing them in an actual grow tent and not in some controlled environment, so these numbers reflect what you will see in real-life usage, not in some perfect marketing world. This light is about 21 inches by 23 inches, which means that there is only going to be a couple of inches of space between the edges of the light and the tent walls. That is going to be why we are going to see fairly even light levels, even at these lower hanging heights. The central area is sitting at just over 1800 par, with the levels across the entire center of the tent being very even. However, as we get to the outer edges of the tent, we are going to see a bit of a drop-off down to around 1300 par, with over 1000 in each of the corners. Moving the light up to 18 inches away from the sensor shows the par levels across the entire tent, dropping in a pretty even fashion, which isn't surprising as the light nearly fills the tent wall to wall. The light levels in the center of the canopy at both 12 and 18 inches are going to be way too high for most plants, and it can be a real pain to work on your plants under a light that is this close anyways. If you do want to use them at this hanging height, however, I would really recommend using the dimming function to reduce the brightness. You have a real chance of light burning your leaves with par levels over 1300, which is what you will be seeing with the light hung this close. As we will see in a minute, with this light in a tent this size, we are going to get par levels approaching 1000 even at 30 inches above the sensor, so it is something to watch. Looking at the power draw of this light, we were pulling 303 watts from the wall with it turned all of the way to 100%, and we tested it at all of the available light levels as well to give you an idea of how much power it will pull from the wall at different settings. With the controller set to 8, the light was pulling 226 watts from the wall. When we moved it to 6 on the controller, the light was pulling 180 watts. With the controller set to 4, the light was pulling 135 watts from the wall. Finally, moving the setting down to 2 on the controller brought the power draw to 91 watts. We also have the rest of the readings from 1 through 10 showing on the screen as well. I just didn't want to have to read all 10 of them out loud, or really I didn't want to make you have to listen to me read all of them out loud. Next up, we are going to move the light to 24 inches above the sensor, and in the center of the tent, we are still going to see over 1100 par, while it is going to be close to 1000 par around the edges of the space, which are still great numbers. These are still incredibly high light levels, and if you have the light this close to your plants, you will most likely want to be using the dimming function on the controller. We did a lot of measurements with the light dimmed as well as at full power, which is what the par X numbers that you see are for. With the light hanging at 24 inches like this, and the center par level at 1131, with the light turned all the way up, the way to figure out what the levels would be at a different setting is to multiply the par reading by the par X number that matches the setting that you want. Let's say that we have the light set to 6 on the dial, then we would multiply 1131 by the par X number, which for 6 would be 0.62, giving us 701 par. You can do that with any of the readings on these charts, and that should get you pretty close to the right par level for any of the dimmer settings. Now that we have moved the light up to 30 inches above the sensor, we are seeing a maximum of 965 par in the center area, with the light level staying pretty constant around 850 par along the edges. I do want to say that having the ability to use the light controller remotely at the end of the longer UIS cable has been a really nice change, as it lets me easily adjust the dimmer settings as I am pulling all of these readings without having to actually open the tent all of the way up, which is saving me a lot of time. Testing these lights in even a 2-foot by 2-foot tent means that I need to take 300 separate readings, and anything that can speed that up makes my life a lot easier. We get asked quite a bit what sensor we are using to get all of our par readings, and we are using the Apogee Instruments SQ420 par sensor. It is fairly affordable as these things go, with the only drawback being that I have to plug it into my laptop to see the readings, as it is just the sensor. Next up, we have the light hung at 36 inches above the sensor. We are looking at 830 par in the center area of the tent, with around 700 along the edges. These are actually pretty solid numbers considering how far from the sensor the light is at this point, and while I would usually say that you shouldn't be hanging the light this far from the plants, these numbers are still at the high end for many plants that you may be growing, and the levels across the board are actually very decent. If you are flowering out cannabis plants, these light levels would probably still work for a lot of photoperiod plants that are only getting 12 hours of light in flower, and a lot of garden plants would absolutely love this much light. That is the power of squeezing in a light this large inside of a small tent, and while you could still grow with one of the smaller AC Infinity board-style grow lights, something like this is going to give you a ton of flexibility and allow you to use it in a larger tent in the future if you decide you need more space. Finally, we are going to take a look at this light hung at 48 inches above the sensor, and we can see that we are just barely over 600 par in the center of the tent, with the outer edges at right around 500 par. For the amount of electricity you would be using having this light at full blast hung at this height, I would not really recommend using it like this. If these are the light levels that you are looking for with your specific plants, you would be much better off hanging the light at 24 or 30 inches with the dimmer set to 6, as you would be using almost half the electricity while still getting fairly similar light levels. That is the benefit to using a light with a dimming function. You can really save quite a bit on electricity costs by simply dimming the light a bit. The other upside to not running your light at the max level is that you will see some serious reductions in the amount of heat the light is putting out as well, which can really help if you are growing in a warmer climate. A big thank you to AC Infinity for supporting the channel, and if you want to check out the Ionframe Evo4 or any of their other gear for yourself, make sure to click on the link to their website in the description or pinned comment down below, and use the discount code GEEKS at checkout to receive 10% off your entire order.